Hey all, and welcome to the HellfireComms Livestream playthrough of one of my favourite video games. This is Abzu. Now, I'm going to get us straight into the game here, but there's a little bit of backstory behind this game, or what it's all about. This game was developed by a company by the name of Giant Squid, and Giant Squid are a collaboration of various different talents who worked on Journey and a few of the other That Game Company games. So you may notice some similarities in themes between the two games, but I feel this is my favourite between the two, just to put my cards on the table there. It has a bit of a different flavour to it. You can see it's a very different setting to start with, and it's set underwater, which they really take advantage of, and they've made a game that's just as beautiful as you would expect from the people who've worked on it.
Yeah, once again, I have no experience with this, so I'll be basically reacting to everything, for the first time, so hope you guys enjoy the stream today.
Yep, this is our player character. This is the diver. We know very little, possibly nothing, about the diver to start with, but again, it has a similar design philosophy behind what we saw with Journey, and I'm going to try to knock the comparisons on the head once we get going. But there's a lot of ambiguity here, and again, that works to the game's strength, in my opinion. But something that I find technically very impressive, and you'll see this constantly over the course of the game, is look at all these schools of fish we have here. Knowing how game design works, how the technological side of games works, that is really impressive. The fact that this game I'm playing on PC, so it does have that advantage, but I'm playing this at what is a very consistently smooth 120 FPS. Unfortunately, the stream will only show it at 60, but it holds up even with all of this different stuff going on. So yeah, right off the bat, as soon as we get stuff like that, I am impressed,
Yeah, I mean, it draws to mind that old meme of Call of Duty making a big deal out of the fish AI, which I also think about when it comes to Super Mario Sunshine, because there's, levels where they have fish that swim away from you or whatever, and it's like they made a big deal about it. It's like, bro, we had this in like 2003.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be one of those kind of playthroughs where there's going to be a lot of sitting back, soaking it in, because, I mean, look at it,
It's an immersion kind of game. I don't know how much narrative this has compared to what Journey had, but so far, at the very least, it seems like we're not given very much at all. We're just sort of thrown in here and meant to, just kind of experience it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a slower burn this time around, but again, they're really indulging in the general spectacle here, and that being the first thing you see in the game, I think is, it is a strength in and of itself.
Yeah, they're definitely coming out swinging for the start of this, I can tell.
I may have lost my bearings a little bit, but that's okay, because we get to look at the fishies that little bit more. That's my cope, and I'm sticking with it.
I love the artistic design on everything, because it's a bit rough in terms of like corners and stuff, but all the actual textures and models are really smooth and crisp, and it's just really nice to look at.
And I'm just gonna obsess a little bit more over the technical side of things, because look at that ground texture and how detailed that is there.
Yeah, that's really good.
That takes some doing.
It, the flippers kind of clip through it a little bit, and it doesn't seem like any of the sand on the ocean floor or whatever is like being really affected by any of the movements, but the texture itself is pretty nice to make up for that.
It's got a sort of pseudo cutout look, which does give them a bit of leeway with things like that.
I feel like this is more about immersing yourself in the entire location, not the, minute details that might go along with being here. It's a big picture kind of game.
Yeah, it is, and it also works in layers. It exposes you to new things one at a time. Like, we started off just having the mostly empty start area. I think we've got a little bit of plant life with some new fish, and that's just going to keep growing and growing and growing.
Now, is there anything in this that we're trying to get to, like the mountaintop in Journey?
Not explicitly, like, not from the start, but like I say, it's got a bit of a slower burn with a narrative, so new concepts will come along as and when it's appropriate.
I mean, we just kind of transitioned from the nice ocean floor into the realms of Hell's Deep, or whatever the hell this is.
This is the point where you realise that what starts out being a very natural setting has some maybe not quite so natural elements to it. And this is a bit of a checkpoint room that you'll start to notice coming back more and more, but pay close attention to how it looks each time.
Okay.
And also enjoy that lovely rich blue.
Yeah, color design in these games is just like impeccable. Just even the different shades of the same color just look awesome.
Yeah, the art design again was done by Matt Nava, and he has a very distinct style that carries over, and it also seems very flexible in the fact that this is such a radically different setting, yet it still has the same charm to it. I've seen a few people mention Echo the Dolphin, and setting-wise, yeah, although actually, come to think of it, in terms of the narrative, I guess you could see some similarities as well. It's not quite as explicit as Echo was, but, I can kind of see the similarities.
So we basically took that dark area and, like, revived it or something, is what it looks like to me.
It's bringing life back to dead parts of the ocean. At least that's my reading of it.
Yeah, that's definitely what it seemed like, which is like... I mean, all of this is gorgeous, so...
And one thing that it's kind of subtle how it's bringing it in here, but we went from just a, very natural area, but this is obviously man-made.
Yeah, these are more like ruins. Very, very reminiscent of that one area that we thought looked like being underwater in Journey.
A little bit.
Some murals here as well, yeah.
I feel like, in the interest of, I guess, disclosure to a degree, I should say, one thing I'm going to try to do once we get into the game proper is put a cap on the Journey comparisons. And that's primarily because, although I feel like there are similarities, and in fairness, there are similarities, one of the problems I have with... Oh, let's just let this happen, because I feel you need to experience that.
Oh, yep, alright.
Yeah. One of the problems I have with the previous HFC Abzu playthrough, that I will say up front I think is one of the weakest playthroughs on the channel, is that Tom and Rich through the whole thing were constantly just comparing it back to Journey, and it ended up being, oh, Journey did this better. I think this game absolutely stands on its own, and there you can make the pun if you'd like, Svar.
Nope, I don't actually know what the pun was. I was actually watching the game there.
Understandable, but yes, it absolutely stands on its own.
Ah, right, yeah.
And I feel like, for the sake of being constructive, because I have been, admittedly, a bit of a dick to Tom and Rich over the years about the LP, but the thing that I think about this game is the way that this tells its narrative and what this game's own strengths are is it's less about the narrative beats itself, and it's more about the picture that it's painting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's through the presentation, like the visuals, the music, all these little set pieces that you get, like being swept along in the tide. That to me is what sells this game, much more so than just a strict narrative. So I think that while you can make very surface level comparisons to Journey, I think that's selling both games a little bit short, really, because that's not the thing that is the selling point for them.
Mm-hmm. It almost might have been better if you had done this on stream first, but
well, then we would have been just like, well, this is like that part in Abzu during Journey, wouldn't we? So
possibly, yeah. I guess it probably would have ended up the same either way, but yeah, I think what you're saying is obviously they're different games, and there's going to be similarities because they're a similar type of game made by some of the same people, so obviously that's going to be there, but it stands on its own regardless. I think what I said before in that this is a big picture game, I think that's definitely standing out. We're not getting... I mean, there's obviously like little details here and there, but I feel like we're kind of just, you know, getting swept along, just going through. We're not really stopping in a lot of places to explore, and that might be just how you're playing, but it's playing a little bit differently, I want to say, than what that did. And so yeah, I think it definitely does stand on its own. It is a different game. It is a different type of game, even if it looks very similar.
I think the best way to put it is that quite a while ago now, at one point Richie coined the term experience game, like using that to describe the genre. And I think that's a good descriptor in terms of what you're here for. Because if you were to put this down on paper, then you would very much think that, okay, this is following all the same story beats. But that's not gonna be your takeaway from this. You know, you're not gonna remember, oh, we had this section where we stopped to do this. You're gonna have moments where you think, I got swept along with a fish. You know, I started diving down and I saw that shark attack the camera. You know, that's my takeaway from this. And so even if it were identically blow by blow from a narrative like perspective, it's the presentation that sells it.
Mm-hmm. I think, I mean, the art style is different for sure, and the setting, I think there's definitely enough different here that they should be seen apart, even if they do have all those similarities.
I think from them points you meant to find the little camera devices to take to it, but I also can't remember where they are in this area, so we get to swim around a little bit more.
Oh, I mean, that's fine. This is the kind of game where you really want to explore, I guess. I know I just said that we weren't doing that, but we did just come out to this, you know, huge, expansive area, so...
So it has been a little while since I played this last, so there are going to be points where I need to sort of get me bearing just a little bit.
Oh, I'm seeing some caves over there. I'm not sure if that's where you're supposed to go.
I think that's where we might need to go after, but we'll see. Or maybe not. No, you're right.
Alright, nice.
Let's pick that up. How are we sitting underwater? Well, there are those sections that I did show off a moment ago where you can just sit down and meditate. I would imagine, physically speaking, it's his gear that lets him do that. So if we do it again, just to show it off here, it's on these sections here that, you know, you can just sit down for a moment, soak it in.
I think bringing realism into this is a bit ridiculous anyway.
Yeah, just a little bit. But yeah, no, it's fine.
I mean, you clipped through the rock to get there in the first place, and also, like, my dude doesn't even have any kind of, like, equipment. to really help with breathing underwater. So I think maybe thinking about this too much kind of is another thing that's going to sell the game short.
Yeah. There we go, there's that similar kind of familiar Austin Wintory violin build-up that he does in quite a few of his pieces.
Alright.
It's very subtle, like it was just for those few seconds there, but it's usually something that kicks in whenever there's like a transitional scene. Like there, swimming along with them. See, this is the sort of thing that I love about this game, in that you could take a screen cap of basically any moment in this, and it would just be a fantastic like desktop background or something in its own right.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was actually pretty shocked when you got to like that meditate spot, because that's the first time we've had any text on screen that wasn't in a menu or credits, so that kind of caught me off guard.
Yeah, I know I am throwing the camera around a lot here. I'm just kind of keeping my eyes out because I can't remember how many little bonus things there are along the way in this game. Because like I say, it has been a little while since I played this last, so I just kind of want to make sure I'm not missing anything cool.
So what does grabbing the fish like that do?
It's mostly just so you get like pulled along with them. Oh, look at this!
Alright.
Yes! Then we're back to his. I think it's very well done, the stark contrasts that we get in this game. You get a moment of bliss, and then a moment of this. Oh, that wasn't meant to be a rhyme, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that's a good gameplay loop for something like this, though.
Let's actually try and land in the thing.
It seemed like you did to me. I guess you didn't quite get close enough.
No, I went a little bit too far over it. What's gonna come out of this time? There's the orcas.
Yeah, the orcas, of course, because we're swimming with them there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got some more greens coming in this time.
God, can you imagine if new Pokemon Snap looked like this?
Oh god. I mean, new Pokemon Snapping itself looks absolutely gorgeous, but one in this art style would be something else.
Like, just Pokemon in general looking like this. And not being, like, an indie game trying to be Pokemon that just kind of never works.
Yeah, that I will say, I know it's one of them things that comes up every now and then whenever people have some sort of hang up with Pokemon and they start recommending all these other games. I feel like the problem that a lot of those not Pokemon games have is that they stick a bit too close to Pokemon's design. Like, the setting is the same, and so it does just feel like a bit off-brand rather than being its own unique take on that particular gameplay style.
Yeah, one of the big ones in the past couple of years was Temtem, which basically was Pokemon but also an MMO kind of thing, and everything was double battles, and I don't know much about how it played because the only footage I ever saw of it was like a open beta or something, and it was so incredibly laggy that no one could move.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed with what I saw at Temtem. God, look at that!
Oh, that's so cool.
And look how many of them there is. It's like creating the deep sea in a video game is a massive ask because there are so many different things, and like you've got to make it look lived in, and this game pulls it off, which is just astounding on so many levels.
Yeah, this is I mean, I know we're not trying to compare it, but like both of these games are just magical experiences. That I mean, and we've only been on this one for like 20 minutes or so, and like this one is really something special.
Absolutely, yeah. But you saw we got a bit of a change in colour as we went through that gate here. And it's doing the thing again with colour theory, where it's using colours you wouldn't necessarily associate with the sea, but it's making it work.
Yeah, this is absolutely gorgeous. Oh, I love this.
So I know what we sort of have to do here is we've got to fix up this chain, and in order to do that we've got to find these different areas that are all sort of strapped up. So it's a nice little prompt for us to actually look in every nook and cranny of this area.
Alright.
I don't know how we have enough strength to do that, but it's fantasy, it's cool.
Yeah, we're not meant to really question it.
No. But even then, I feel like this game just... If you've been paying attention to the little unnatural things that have been teased throughout the game so far, there are possibly explanations for even this sort of stuff. Let's get one of these again.
I'm not sure how logical this is, but a thing that's coming to mind now, instead of restoration, this is kind of making me think more of creation. Sort of like a telling of creation of the world or something.
I think you might be right, actually.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting adaptation or interpretation of this.
I didn't realise there was a somersault button.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
we Spider-Man PS4 now.
Can't quite shoot webs, but it's the next best thing. Let's just brush through the plant life, because I love doing that in this game.
Oh, man. The way everything can interact with you, even if, like, again, like, back when we had, like, the seafloor and some of the texture didn't get affected by it, you're still, like, affecting all of the stuff that's here, like the plant life and the fish and things like that, and all that stuff being able to react to you. Thank you, cameraman, for the ass shot there. You know, being able to interact with all this stuff, you know, there's a certain extent that I think a game can get to where anything more is sort of superfluous, and I think, like, scuffing the ocean floor is more than this game needed. Not that it would have been a negative thing for it to have that, but I think it's not really a downside that you can't do that.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, it's sort of got a fantasy look enough that it doesn't really detract, so I don't mind too much. Yes, Axel, the camera was getting to the bottom of this journey.
I think all the different types of plant or fish, I was going to say plant life again, but all the different types of fish are like, there's so many of them. Like the thing you're grabbing onto, there's so many swimming around you. Just like if you look on screen at one time, there's going to be like a dozen different species, all on one screen at one time. I'm kind of slurring my words a bit now.
That's fine. I thought that was a meditate spot, but I guess not. Oh, I realised what was going on with these sections here. I think in the original game there was like in your first playthrough, I think there were little sections where you could just prompt a bit of trivia about a fish, but because I've played on this system before. It's probably still got all my old save file in the background somewhere. But that's fine.
I mean, it probably would have been nice if those things were still available, but, you know, I don't think that's detracting too much. I do find it interesting that these statues are basically fish with arms from a lot of the ones that I was seeing. So I wonder what that means. Oh, I love the color shift. Oh, this is beautiful.
Let's just take a look at that again for a sec, because I want it to really sort of sink in just how much of a change in colours that is. Except if we swim back through, just how seamless it feels at the same time.
Yeah, it's honestly really great. The little lights on the floor are just
Little lights and the particle effects. And I will say this game on console does run at 30, so that's something to bear in mind if you're playing it on console. Obviously on PC it depends on what your system can run, but you know, like, I do really appreciate that this game. It feels pretty lightweight. I have my graphics card's a few years old now. It's 1070 and it's still running pretty smoothly here with all this extra stuff going on, and I've got it on high-ish settings too.
It's okay, Flame. No one actually owns any graphics cards made in the past 3 years.
No. Well, I mean, Tom has one in a broken PC, the bastard.
Oh, we got the color shift and we're back to one of these kind of desolate areas.
I like with this how there's just that little tease of the red. You know, it's like it's showing what it could be in the introductory section of this chapter, but you know, you see this part is much more washed out, so it's sort of that idea of what could be once we fix it.
And like there was definitely some hints and silhouettes of, you know, some ruins that were around, but they were kind of blocked out by some fog and stuff like that. So yeah, just really great artistic design all around. And of course, the thing we're going to now has 3 branches, or whatever. Yep.
And we know that each time we come here, it's going to release some different sea life. So I forget what we had for the first one. The second one was the orcas. I can't remember what comes up here, but it might be the sunfish that we swam along with earlier.
Yeah, the first one was the manta rays.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking this one's going to be that thing you were holding on to, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta remember, this should run fine on a 1660 Ti.
Sharks, actually, it looks like, if I'm seeing those correctly. Axel asks, when are we releasing Nessie?
Never, but I could Photoshop a few pictures for you if you like.
That would be a fun mod if they had one with all the fish replaced by Pokemon, yeah.
I don't know if anyone would have the means to do that though and make it look good, because the existing 3D models for Pokemon out there would not work in this art style.
I mean, they could be bumped up, because I've seen some emulation of like the 3DS games where the models are like super smooth. The textures don't look really great, but that's harder to like mess with. But like I've seen X and Y on the 3DS emulator, and the models are absolutely crisp. It's great to see.
The thing there is that when they were developing X and Y, look at all this artwork, by the way. But when they were developing X and Y, they commissioned all these models that are way higher resolution than the 3DS would ever need. And that's why they've been able to reuse them in the Switch games, and that's also why the 3DS games chug like shit whenever there's more than a couple of them on screen.
I mean, the Switch games don't do much better.
Well, I mean, yeah, but they're just bugged in a different way. They're game freaked.
Yeah.
I think I've got to activate this thing at the bottom, maybe. Oh no, I've got to go down there. I was just being nosy at the murals.
I mean, there's a lot of really interesting stuff. Seeing a lot of things that definitely look like our diver here.
Yeah. Now, it might be up here that there's something a little bit extra as well. there, I think this is one of the little bonuses. If you want to see the clownfish, this is where he is.
Oh, okay. Neat.
I found him, lads.
Oh, that's Nemo and Dory from Finding Nemo.
I think that's what they're going for, yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I hadn't really clocked onto that because I just saw the clownfish because, like, you know, it stands out. But no, that is definitely what they're going for there.
Absolutely, that's really great. I love that.
Let's Go Pikachu Eevee is probably the best performing of the Switch Pokemon games, but it does still have a few like frame drops in the overworld here and there. Like Viridian City is really bad for it.
Oh yeah, I think I probably had more fun with Let's Go Eevee than I did with Sword and Shield.
I disagree, but that's mainly because I really like the Kanto, like the original Kanto games, and that's just a sort of more handholdy version of them.
I just kind of really enjoyed, you know, the way Pokemon are caught in that one.
Oh, I didn't like that at all.
Oh, see, I thought it was fine. It also helped that when I was playing that, Nat was over visiting,
No,
and so
fair
we were kind of playing it together. So that may have helped a little bit.
Yeah, you can play that game co-op and completely break the game.
Well, we weren't playing co-op. We were just kind of, you know, trading off every so often.
Ah, fair enough.
And watching while the other played. So.
No, I think I don't really care for the Go mechanics or that particular side of the franchise, so it just really didn't do much for me. As archaic as they might be, if I'm gonna replay through Kanto, I'm gonna play the Game Boy games.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably pick Fire Red Leaf Green personally, just because of a few additions. But I can see, like, I could definitely respect any kind of decision to like pick a certain one.
Fire and Leaf Green are great in the extra stuff that they picked up, but there's just something about the presentation in the stuff that's the direct remake that it just feels a little bit generic to me. Because, like, the Sevii Islands, fantastic to explore. And we've got another moment. Look at this lad.
Oh man.
You can swim alongside him. There's some more of them coming.
Oh wow. Nom nom nom. And the fish just kind of phase out of him at the end.
Oh, this doesn't look too good.
Oh no.
What they do with the camera there is fantastic.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because it, like, even though I knew that's what was going to happen, it did look like he was going to get me for a minute there.
Mm-hmm. I know we wanted to put a cap on it, but since this is my first reaction,
Yeah, go for it.
I do want to say this game is a lot more esoteric than Journey. There is a lot more of this just kind of appreciating a moment, whereas Journey, you felt like you were always on a journey, moving towards something. So I could appreciate both things.
It's the difference in the actual story structure, really, and it's the fact that we haven't had the one moment at the start where we just look at something and think, okay, I'm going here.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting dark again.
But we're not
Oh.
mines.
Mines.
Oh joy! And do they home in on you?
No, but they are quite sensitive if you get too close.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can hear the beeping, because you weren't really that close to that one, and it was Felt like it was about to go off. Oh, skeletons of the creatures we were swimming with, I think.
That's what it looks like to me, yeah. Okay, but we've got to get dangerously close to these ones.
Yeah, they move around, so like you gotta be careful, they might come in from off camera. Close in on you like this.
Yeah, that gets me heart going.
Yep.
Is that shark again?
Okay, so I normally don't talk about like stuff going on Twitter during the streams, but Alfred just posted a picture of himself wearing a Princess Peach costume on Twitter,
Okay.
saying we just had an interesting shoot today. So, whatever that video is that he's making is going to be something.
Oh. Just saw one go off in front of me, which is never a good sign.
Is very, very close quarters
Oh,
here. What's going on up there?
that's a shark.
Oh, it's caught, yeah.
Yeah, he's taking a beating there. You can see like on his tail and whatnot. I don't remember if there's more mines around this area or not, so I'm gonna be careful.
Yeah, that's probably for the best. Doesn't seem like it, so that was a special thing to pick up, I guess.
Just missed that last time.
Are there more things like that that you would have been able to find normally?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what were in them little pools of water that we saw.
Oh, okay.
See, this is a similar sort of sequence to what we had at the start of this chapter, but dark this time. And I like that it's bringing in elements like that for the like tail end of it.
Yeah, this is almost like these spires with something coming out kind of makes it look like smokestacks. And so kind of that allegory towards pollution
I could see it, yeah.
might be what they're going for here. Although these might be naturally occurring, I don't actually know much about the ocean floor, so...
I think the fact that it's there and noticeable. Here we have the squid.
Yep.
That's their namesake.
The changing colors is really cool. Oh, that's so awesome to watch.
Yep, the giant squid.
The giant squid is running into the wall.
He knows what he's doing, he has a route. And that route, I'm pretty sure it's just a circle, but still. Let him go now.
Man, there's got to be so much in this one room, I guess, to explore. It's just so huge.
It's so smoky as well, so it's like... It's clearly pushing you toward where you need to go, but just the fact that we were able to see the squid swimming around to kind of let you know that there's still some life here.
Yeah. And now we have 4.
Mm-hmm.
Can you spin and look around at the other places?
Yeah, we can see all the ones we've been to already. Like that over there. You got the orcas. You got all the other like manta rays.
And this looks like the last one of these in this area to grab, because I think there was 4 when we first came here.
It might be. I know we are going to get a slight change in direction coming up soon, but I think we come back here.
Okay. Yep, there's the squids.
Mm-hmm. Definitely starting to feel a lot more man-made as we get into these new, almost sort of palace areas, the way it looks.
Yeah, for sure. I'm being called, so I'll be back in a minute.
That's fine, mate. Just have a little explore as we go along here. Are we even going to fit through this? There we go. This from... I remember this from very distinctly, because even though it's not actually that hard to traverse, just knowing that if you get just a little bit too close to any of these, they're going to start beeping at me. Like there. Yeah, I am very much on edge there, and it's probably not the best time to start soaking in the debris there, but god. Everything about this game's technical performance really does impress me, and coming back to it now, that's something I'm glad that I can appreciate more, because when I first played through this was when it first came out, which I think was 2016, like either late 2015 or 2016. Whereas now I've sort of looked more into just the technical side of how games work and that, and it just, the second time around, knowing all that, it's just impressive as well as beautiful, I guess I'm getting at. Looks like more of our little camera buddies. Gonna have to hug the wall a little bit, I reckon. Oh, I'm gonna have to get really close to this one. You know what? This shot here, this is anxiety. This is how anxiety works. If you're ever anxious about something, this is what's going on. You can see the big ones out there as well. I think it really shows the general transition idea really well, in the fact that during the opening chapters we had all that wildlife just going on, whereas in this particular area there's nothing. It's just, and again, it's this game doing contrasts really well. Yeah, it's like a broken underwater ship. But let's see if I can get this hologram on the screen here. How does it recognise me? That's something we haven't had explained. We don't know how it recognises us. This is not the kind of area you want to be foggy, but realistically it is the kind of area that would be very foggy. Taking this slow for a reason. I don't think this has a failure state either, but just the mere fact that you get pushed back, and Jesus Christ. Look at this. This is the most terrifying part of the entire game. No, I am probably going to get hit by something in this room. Unless I go up and over, that might work, because it... Oh no, there's still loads up here. No, I'm way too close to that now. The fact that they're all moving in different directions doesn't help navigate it either. Oh, it got me. No more, please. I don't want to get hit again. Just turning around a bit because I want to show off just the particle effects there, but I think I've locked my camera now. There's our friend again. So this looks a little bit more natural at least, but we're not exactly in the best state. And I think this is interesting because as far as I can tell, this is the first time where it's explicitly shown to us, like it's spelled out to us that our diver here, that's not a human body. There's something majestic about the great white shark, and I feel like that's why it's that much more emotionally touching to see an animal like that in pain. For the first time in the entire game, we're on land. I'm not sure what that turtle's doing.
I see we found our sea legs.
Yep, sort of. We're at the point in the game where you come out of the sea and get to experience the fact that there's somewhat of I guess it's trying to be parallel to maybe the idea of Atlantis or something like that. You know, like the man-made area that's under the sea.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But you did manage to miss the most terrifying part of the game with all the mines in one room, so you're free from that.
Alright. Okay.
Now when you get to this area here, you do have to remember to actually come up to this section and activate this switch, because it's this switch that opens the sealed off area below that has the chain thingy we need to move on. And I have had a couple of runs now where I completely forgot that you can get out of the water, and I was just swimming around aimlessly looking for a switch somewhere else. So just be cautious and don't be me. Sections like this do a really good job at highlighting just how fantastic the presentation is in this game, and just how much the presentation can carry an experience like this. Because what we're doing here, ultimately, is just a go find thing opens door, go through door kind of gameplay loop, which on paper really doesn't sound that exciting. But it's kind of like what I said earlier, in that these games like this, games like Abzu, Journey, games that are more of this art game genre thing we were talking about in the Journey playthrough, they're more defined by the individual moments. I'm not necessarily going to remember that time where I just went and found a switch. I'm not going to remember that moment where I just swam through a door that I had to pull a chain to open. But what I am going to remember are these beautiful ocean vistas, this packed underwater locale. It's just something that this game does exceptionally well. Just being able to make the mundane interesting like this. Now we can start doing the underwater water feature. Okay, maybe I can't translate that, but that looks prehistoric. And that's something that I know people have talked about in terms of the sea life here, in that there seems to be a handful of anachronisms of different fish that weren't around at the same time to like live alongside each other. But given how mysterious and how like the other sort of things that are implied throughout the game, that feels intentional. Like it feels like there's meant to be a bit more going on than first meets the eye.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so the switch is going to be at this end. I like that a lot.
It's really cool. Yeah, that's so awesome. I love these kind of mechanisms of like the water flowing and stuff. It's so cool.
Now, I didn't think to do this earlier, last time we had one of these meditation spots, but if you press the view button, then you can just sort of scroll through the different types of sea life, different fish that live in the area you're in. And it's kind of nice to be able to see that. I will say I'm not exactly a sea life expert, but just the attention to detail that they've actually researched the different kinds of fish that would be living in this area, obviously ignoring the prehistoric ones. I appreciate that. It's another thing that shows that this game is very much a labour of love.
Definitely getting vibes from that underwater area that I mentioned in FF14 before.
Alright.
Because it's underwater, but it looks like a like above water place.
Yeah, but it did another one of them sections where it got us used to one particular tone where it was kind of ambient and gentle, but then on a dime it just switched to being swept along again.
Yep. I was actually thinking that we had just gone through a pretty slow section, and so this is actually really great to pick things back up.
I feel like for the most part it paces itself pretty well in that respect, and it doesn't let you get too complacent with one particular, I guess, speed of the game. It kind of lets you get a feel for it, and then it's like, okay, we're changing stuff now. But with this section coming up, I feel like I need to just let you soak it in for a moment.
That whole area we just went through was gorgeous. Hey Ray, welcome to the stream.
Welcome to the stream. We're probably on about the second half of Abzu now. We've been just exploring. We've been through the part where there was a lot of stuff blowing up on us, so now we're back to enjoying the pretty fish again. Look at that school of fish there. How many of them must there be?
Oh man, that's absolutely insane. That's crazy. Of course, there's 4 in the corners and 1 in the center.
Mhm. So there's our great white friend in a much healthier looking state in the hologram than he was when we last saw him.
Yep.
What a dive!
Oh, man.
Yeah, I am remembering where we are now, and now we've unlocked all those different vessels. We've got the Great White along with us. There we go.
And we're kind of glowing.
Yep. So this is this game's little catharsis moment, because all the mines are gone. The slow section that we'd lost, like remember the mines, the problem they had? It's just blast right through them.
Oh, alright.
Yeah.
Just tear them apart. Love it.
So this, again, these stories are very much open to interpretation, but my takeaway from this is this feels like a replacing or like fixing the problems that man has inflicted on the sea and now restoring it. I know you said you were feeling differently about that, but when I see this moment, this is what kind of sells it to me. The fact that we've got all these different mines and all the different things that's been done to it over the years, clearly. And now it's like this is nature taking it back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think my interpretation was definitely like at a point where I was missing a lot of information.
Yeah,
I think
fair.
the creation idea could still possibly work, but I think yours is probably pretty on the like spot on. Pretty much exactly what they were going for.
Honestly, it could go a bit either way because we are still forming new life here. You know, like you see all the plants come in, and you know we're very much creating a new world for all these creatures to live in. So it does still have that going to it as well. And it could potentially be seen as kind of a meeting in the middle there. The fact that we've got our character here, which we saw earlier when he got damaged himself, that he's not entirely human. You can see from like when he was hurt, and you know you could see all the damage from his bodysuit here. And so it could be the idea of, you know, like the technology fixing its own sins or something. You could take that away from it.
Yeah. And it's another one of those things where there's definitely multiple ways to interpret this. It's pretty open-ended. This one I feel is a bit more on the nose because it is dealing with a very specific subject matter in terms of the sea.
Yeah.
Not that Journey wasn't. I mean, it was pretty clear what it was going for as well, but I think the meaning behind this one is a bit more ambiguous.
I feel like this one spells out more of a message if you're going to go down my route. And I appreciate the fact that it's done in a sort of proposing the idea sort of method rather than being preachy, because it could very easily go that way if it wasn't careful about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, you know, it's one of those bigger discussions, you know, about like social themes in games, political themes in games. I feel if you're going to do it, I feel like this is the kind of way, because regardless of how you approach it, you can kind of take away an environment theme at the very least, can't you?
Yeah, for sure.
You can see that, but you know, it's letting you figure things out for yourself. It's not someone talking down to you, and I feel like that's a very, very healthy balance. Where'd he go? There he is. Let's go join him.
If you sit still for a second.
Yeah. I'm starting to rethink that idea. Let's go for the goal. I think he might be intentionally sort of following along with us, so that might be why that was happening. So there's more of the red that was what hurt us last time, so this will be interesting. If I can actually get in there, yeah, there we go. Now, I know you weren't here for this, but people in chat, do you remember this from earlier? How long it took us to get through there?
Oh, wow.
And now we could just sort of plow through all of them. God, that felt good.
Mm-hmm. And the music with it as well.
Oh, yes. I will say I kind of like the fact that there is this triangle motif going through, like in both the mines, the different areas, the sunken things, and on our diver.
Mm-hmm.
But it's never spelled out what it is. So it's like you can notice the trend, but you know, it doesn't really say that this is absolutely either a particular corporation doing it or just a representation of man or anything like that. It is literally just, you can take away from it what you want to take away from it.
Mm-hmm. And also, I don't know how much of this they were going for, but if you just look at the title, Abzu, there's a lot of triangles in that too. Like A has a triangle in it, it's that shape. You can make triangle out of the Z by putting some more lines, and the U has the little accent over it as well. The B is the only one that stands out. So I don't know how much of that they were really actually going for, but I certainly noticed that when the title popped up right before the credits here.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our playthrough of Abzu, and I have really enjoyed going back to this game. It's reminding me exactly why I fell in love with it in the first place. You know, it's one of them games that maybe you spend a little bit of time away from it, but whenever you go back to it, it just hits that spot again. And I'm glad that I've been able to share this game with you.
Sir David Attenborough was on there.
Oh, they probably used his documentation as reference for the different wildlife.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see on the screen share because it's small, but I am still in control of the diver right now and swimming around with all the different fish.
Oh yeah, I can kind of see that now. I was kind of just looking at the names.
Yeah. Oh, I did the somersault and then the shark did it straight after.
Nice. So, having watched the two games back to back, my thoughts on them just from, you know, again, being the viewer and not being the one playing, I think Journey had the bigger catharsis, but I think this one was probably stayed in line with what they wanted you the whole way through. It was very obvious, like, from the start, pretty much what was going on. Which, not that that wasn't the case in Journey as well, but I think that one was more about the big moments than the minute to minute. We spent a lot more time in Abzu just kind of marveling at everything. Whereas in Journey, you know, there was just like 2 or 3 points where we had to just stop and say wow, outside of like the big ending. So I think, you know, there's probably more stuff in each game has their own thing.
Yeah.
That they're doing, and they're doing it well, but they're doing different things. And I can see the comparisons. I definitely think each one should be held on their own merit, though.
Yeah, it's. I'm not gonna. Like, I've had a pop at Tom and Rich about this many a time, but I don't think comparing the two is inherently the problem. I just think that they're very surface level similarities. And when you sit down and you let the game soak you in, you'll get a different takeaway from each one. And so that's why I stand so heavily behind, you know, these are 2 different games that bring 2 different experiences, and I want them to stand on their own legs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna let this little ending screen play, because it's just so, you know, like, this is what it's all come down to. This is the fish now in a much healthier, happier habitat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's beautiful.
And where's the diver at? Is he still on screen?
He's over on the left here. If I do another somersault, you might see him there.
Yes. Yeah, I can see when you do the somersaults. Kind of blends in with everything else until that.
Yeah, I will say there were a few times during the credits where I was losing track of where I was. But, you know, like, it's just a little credits bonus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that will do us for today. So, on Thursday, tentatively, we're going to be back with Spar's Metroid Prime 2 randomizer. I think tomorrow Tanner's going to be doing a bonus stream. Wednesday I'm not sure about, but there are a handful more streams upcoming, so Damus beat us to it. Yeah, if you want to check the Discord and hang out in there, when we go live with a stream, that's where we'll post the link, so you can keep an eye on the streams that are coming. As for the YouTube channel, if you go subscribe to that, we'll be posting the recordings of all these streams that are happening. I'm just sort of editing them down a bit, making them a bit more digestible, and if you want to watch back any ones you've missed, you'll be able to do it there. But from us today, I've been the Flameclaw.
And I've been Spar.
And this has been Abzu. We'll join you next time for another playthrough. Bye bye for now.
Bye, everyone.